Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Monday, the 15th day of March 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who may have experienced some power outage on Saturday as well, I hope that you've gotten over that. I haven't seen a statement yet from our electrical provider, CUC. Okay, I'm told that they did issue a statement explaining the reasons for it, so that is good to hear from them as well. Pretty inconvenient on a Saturday, though, when everyone is home. Of course, if it's on a weekday as well and people are in their offices, it is also inconvenient. But with all of that, we still have to be proud of the services that we get here in the Cayman Islands as well. So, for those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands this morning, whether you're a cyclist, a pedestrian, operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. Just a little bit of housekeeping as well. We will have the phone lines closed off until after the 8 o'clock news. At 7:45 this morning, we will have a paid political announcement, and there are several community items, extremely important items that I want to share with you as well. So we will open the phone lines at around 8:15, 8:20 after the 8 o'clock news as well. If you're celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memory of your loved ones will also be with you to support you. For those of you who are sick, whether you're at home or if you're at a medical facility, we hope and trust that you will have a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. You're welcome to call in You can call in on our toll-free number, provided courtesy of Flow, that toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Of course, if you don't like to talk on the telephone, you can email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. So this morning, as we said, we will open the phone lines after the 8 o'clock news. And of course, when you do call on that phone line, the beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson will be on the other end to take your call as well. So folks, without any further ado, first of all, I'd like to share with you the latest COVID update, which was issued on Friday, the 12th of March. And at that time, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that 624 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported on Thursday, 11th of March. 5 out of those 624 were positive. He also reported that the individuals are travelers who tested positive following routine screening. They will remain in isolation until considered recovered. He also gave us some figures in terms of the number of persons in isolation, either at a government facility or in their homes, as required by the medical officer of health, is 809. Also, the total number of COVID-19 vaccines administered to date is 31,980, and so far 21,864, which represents 33.6% of the estimated population, have received at least one dose of the Pfizer vaccine, while 10,116 have completed the 2-dose course. So that is reported by Dr. John Lee. We're getting some information and have not been able to verify it yet, but we'll be checking on it, that there may be even some religious organizations or institutions on the island that may be discouraging their congregations from taking the vaccine as well. And if that is so, that is concerning also. Of course, our Bill of Rights does extend the right to freedom of religion. So that is something that has to be weighed into the conversation. But I think individuals should make their own personal choices, and if anything, listen to the scientific experts when it comes to taking the vaccine as well. Other important information for you. This was issued by the Elections Office on Friday, the 12th of March. Also, the Elections Office will be issuing voter ID cards at the below locations and times, and some of these have already taken place. So on Friday, the 12th of March, from 4:30 p.m. until 8 p.m., they were at the Hurley's Supermarket. On Saturday, the 13th of March, they were at Foster's Countryside from 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. On the 19th of March, they will be at the Veterans and Seamen Center in Cayman Brac from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And the voters are reminded that ID cards can also be obtained at the Elections Office at 68 West Bay Road, Baytown Office Suite, Georgetown. And for more local geography in terms of where that is located. That would be the old Marin's Plaza, where Kentucky Fried is, opposite the Wharf restaurant where HSBC had their offices. That's where the elections office is located as well. And they have also pointed out that if you already have a voter ID card and have not changed your name or address, then a new ID is not required. If changes have been made to your name or address, or you registered between the 2nd of October 2020 and the 20th of January 2021, then you can obtain an ID from the 1st of April 2021 onwards. Any form of official ID will be accepted to vote on election day. However, voters are encouraged to obtain a voter ID card. So, folks, with that information, we're going to take our first commercial break. After that commercial break, we will have a paid political message as well. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back after the paid political announcement, and then after the 8 o'clock news as well.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Dalkeith Ruel Bodden, 1918 to 2001.
Dalkeith Ruel Bodden, like many Caymanian men of his generation, spent much of his early adulthood overseas, having worked for his family cattle business in Georgetown since the age of 10, and at 19 he went to Aruba to work for an oil company. When World War II was declared in 1939, he went to England and enlisted in the Royal Air Force. He served with the RAF for 6 years, including tours in East Africa and Egypt. En route home in 1946, Dal talked with King Parker in Jamaica about the possibility of seaplanes landing in the North Sound. This vision later became a reality. Dalkeith married the former Vita Marin in 1947, and the couple had one daughter. In 1957, he opened Crew Road Gas and Service Station. Later, he and Vita built the Bodmer Building in Georgetown. Dal was a founder of the Rotary Club and the Veterans Association. He donated property to the Cayman Islands government to enable a road to be built into the Queen Elizabeth II Botanic Park.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
We are telling you ahead of time, giving you the heads up to get ready. The Black Tie Affair with a circus twist. Step right up. The annual gala hosted by Rotary Central for the Alex Panton Foundation. Saturday, May 29th, Marriott Beach Hotel Ballroom. Step right up. Support the Alex Panton Foundation, dedicated to serving and preserving young people through vulnerable times, mental health intervention, treatment, guidance, preserving life. The ambience of a circus affair. Tickets are limited, tickets are precious. Get your tickets from Rotary Central members. Go online to Rotary Central and the Alex Panton Foundation Facebook pages. Rotary Central and the Alex Panton Foundation. Rotary opens opportunity.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vamt Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vamtmotors.com or stop by Vamp's service center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vamt Motors on Walkers Road.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Shaken yet standing firm.
I was not built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
The following is a paid political broadcast. The views, information, or opinions expressed in this forum are solely those of the participants of this event and do not represent the views of the management and staff of Radio Cayman.
Fellow Caymanians, the campaign continues. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my weekly broadcast. Hopefully it will be done every Monday morning. There are many promises in this election campaign, but very unrealistic and very dangerous, like the plan to tax wealthy people by my opponent's nominator, Mr. Mario Ebanks' nominator. My friends, taxing the wealthy can sound good, but it is dangerous and unrealistic in our island. And while my opponent may be trying now to say he's against, the fact is that the man talking is the man who nominated him. They can't hide from that fact, no matter what they say. The fact is they're all in it together. There's another dangerous promise by Mr. Mario, term limits. I don't believe in term limits for our small island. Cayman is far too small for that. And the problem with that group is that they so much want to get in the legislature that they believe that is another way for them to get control. They don't seem to see that in some places who have that, it don't work. And that is one of the things that are wrong. The Liberals want it all their way. My opponent, as long as it fits in with those that he associates with, it is okay. But it's not okay. He talks about protecting Caymanians. Do you really believe that cutting short the time the person you elect is something that strengthens you? One man, one vote was to be the panacea
to all our democratic problems. Those problems were all perceived, not realistic, only to fit the ends of those who couldn't get elected before. Now what do you have? Before, you could vote for 4 people. Now, only 1. And if that one is like Mr. Bernie Bush, you can collect $4,000 per month and don't have an office. The only person benefits is who? One man with 1 vote, in this case, Mr. Bush, Bernie Bush, that's who benefits. So no, term limits in our small island don't suit us. But my opponent in West Bay West can only see platitudes and what he can copy from other failed countries. Other countries have it, and I travel the Commonwealth over. And they have said to me, if we had this to do, we would never do it this way. So if you follow him, and you will have every nationality in the parliament. That's not what it's all about for us. While we have a good society, all we have left to control is that, our parliament. The outlandish liberals must not control the parliament, as they have divided our country. And just look how those liberals work. Look how they deride our culture. Look how they deride our churches. Look at how they deride us who believe in an almighty God. Have you read some of it? Have you listened? Don't you see what is going on around us? Is that what you want term limits for? What we have left as a bastion is the parliament. Don't let them mess around by giving Mario E. Banks a seat. The next dangerous aspect that I see, now they're going to have a judicial review of the lockdown. Have they all gone mad? Do they understand this island at all? And this is the kind of action people, they call themselves, but this is the kind of thought process to destroy us. I say to the people here, do not, for God's sake, listen to these people who has never done anything for the community. Oh yes, they have served on a few government boards, and maybe that's why there's been so much mess, because those people, they believe that all it takes for change is for them to say so or do so, and it's supposed to be sensible. Really? Ladies and gentlemen, the lockdown was and is the right thing, and the coalition made the sensible and correct decision. Then it seems you choose life, because while the pandemic and the lockdown cost us economically, it has saved lives. So which one do you choose? With us, you choose life. With them, it's certain disaster. I'm not saying, my friends, that should we have to continue, that government is not going to have to call on the private sector. The banks will have to give some more breaks. But so be it. If I have anything to say about it, then that's the way it will be. Because at some point, government can't continue to carry the load. And at some point, $2,500 or $1,500 per month will not fit the bill for most of us as Caymanians and others who have to live here. Let me turn to my manifesto and our plans. I believe in and practices national sovereignty, protects national heritage. I believe in being a patriot, and our government will protect and promote and defend our national sovereignty, national pride, and national heritage to preserve and protect and honor all things Caymanian. Especially and additionally, we will foster a policy of unity and oneness among all, no matter where you come from. We must have a unified community, a unified society, and we must be commanding respect for our country at home and abroad. And so our government will also restore, recreate, and develop our national park, our botanical gardens, and improve on them, our national museum and national archives, and strengthen and enforce existing laws relating to their preservation. I passed our own honors law and will continue our program to recognize and bestow honor on any Caymanian citizen or otherwise whose actions has advanced the interests of the Cayman people and islands, and or has brought exceptional positive international attention to these islands. On the role of our church, I have taken some flack for that. As I said, if you listen now to some radio shows and platforms and media, the social media, you will see them deriding the church and deriding Almighty God. But we hereby reaffirm our commitment to religious freedom as a basic human right that is guaranteed to every person in these islands. When we offer ourselves for public office and in service to the people of the Cayman Islands, we must recognize the supremacy of God and the foundation of spiritual devotion upon which these islands are founded. In this regard, I have and will continue to act always as the person for the family, for the community, for the church, and for everyone who wants a better life for themselves and those who are important to them. We continue to believe that social and cultural values form an important part of the national heritage of any society. We believe that positive values and attitudes are important connections to social order and peaceful coexistence. Therefore, our school system and throughout society, we will place emphasis on providing general guidelines for good social values and the study of the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. We will promote a course of action which will define a national character based on our accepted values and attitudes, our cultural and our spiritual priorities. I turn for a minute to growing the economy. I believe in and has worked over the years in growing the economy for all Caymanians. We will also implement policies to foster robust economic growth and development and, most importantly, ensure that all Caymanians have an opportunity to benefit. Our economic policies are based on some key principles. A strong financial services sector, well promoted and protected from competitive interests. Of course, the shifting of the goalposts are ever present before us. We will also put emphasis on a high-growth tourism industry that attracts visitors to the islands. This will need to be done even more so after we could open our borders. Diversification into newer knowledge-based sectors, promotion of small business interests, access to capital and training, and removal of excessive bureaucracy which hinders or stops legitimate business interests. Do an overhaul of planning laws to remove some of the bureaucracy that hinders Caymanians and are far too problematic. We will continue the improvement of our infrastructure to ensure we are prepared and ready for future economic growth and development in the wake of the pandemic. And we will certainly do our best for the training of Caymanians generally, and particularly in knowledge-based and new and emergent technologies to enable them to participate in and take advantage of opportunities in the Cayman Islands economy. We will work to stimulate the economy and provide a stable basis for long-term, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive growth and development while raising productivity levels and creating and sustaining long-term employment, income generation, and wealth creation opportunities for all of our people. We will embrace and support diversification of the pillars of our economy to include emerging fields such as analytics and computer programming, which would complement our financial services industry, and I believe also our medical tourism industry. We will also include technology, medical research, and business process outsourcing. We will continue to promote, protect, and enhance Cayman's reputation on the international stage as a top financial, tourism, healthcare, and knowledge-based jurisdiction. We will undertake and complete the development of a full 10-year national economic plan for the sustainable economic and social development of the Cayman Islands. So, my dear friends, there's much work to be done for the new government. I beg you, be careful and don't let these people that have all these newfound ideas, which will never work. Term limits will not work for us. And also, the taxation and the taxing of wealthy people is not going to work. Income tax, property tax is not going to work in this country because it will be passed down to you. We can do better than that. And certainly this idea of now challenging the lockdown is just a crazy, outlandish idea, something new for them to grab onto. So what do you want? Do you want a government that protects us like the coalition did in this pandemic? Or do you choose to open up wide our doors before we are ready? May Almighty God continue to bless you. Tonight, we will have our meeting in Bosun Bay by Teacher Alal's Park. That is tonight, Monday night, at 7:30, God willing.
The preceding was a paid political broadcast.
Studio time now by Price Right is 7:58. Our Easter egg extravaganza is back.
Which means you can win big this Easter at Priced Right.
That's right. Get excited as we're giving away 2 $500 Priced Right gift cards.
To enter, just spend $100 or more in store from now until March 31st. Then enter online with your promotion slip and receipt at pricedright.ky.
Exactly. It's that easy. I have so many egg puns, it's not even funny.
Live better for less this Easter at Priced Right.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For the Record will be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news, so please stay tuned.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 30th of June 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpensions.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. A new leader and chairman are elected at the Progressives Party conference on Friday. Roy McTaggart was unanimously voted in as the new leader of the party. He takes over the reins from outgoing leader Alden McLaughlin, who's led the party since February 2011. Mr. McTaggart told the group he is more than up to the task of forming the new government if the Progressives-led alliance are successful at the general election on April 14th. In his acceptance speech, Mr. McTaggart announced that Joey Hugh would take over as deputy leader of the Progressives from Moses Kirkconnell. The membership also elected their new chairman, Alden McLaughlin. The present executive and general council members of the party were renewed for a further 6 months. The 2021 sitting of the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Examinations are set to be held in June. More from Radio Cayman, Chanda Gallego.
The Ministry of Education says the decision revealed by the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, earlier this month was made, quote, following consultation with the regional ministries of education and formed a part of the CXC's wider strategy to ensure that none of the region's children are disenfranchised by the administration of the regional examinations. Minister for Education, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, lauded the CXC's decision to make changes to the administration of the regional examinations, saying, quote, it provides each candidate with the opportunity to excel in their examinations despite the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to the delayed examination start dates, the regional examination body will share with the ministry for communication to candidates broad topics to be assessed on paper 2, 5 weeks before the start of the examinations. The CXC does note, however, that all topics can be assessed in paper 1. Officials are expected to meet within the coming days to finalize the examination process for local students. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Chanda Gallego.
Civil service employee Renita Barnes joins the governor's office this month on a new secondment for potential future leaders of the Cayman Islands government. Ms. Barnes is expected to spend 6 months to a year working with the team as a corporate services and media officer. The secondment follows a competitive internal recruitment process. This is the first time a scheme of this type is run in the governor's office and aims to give Ms. Barnes a unique opportunity to learn about the relationship between the UK and the Cayman Islands. And a special appreciation event was held recently for Her Majesty's Cayman Islands Prison Service to shine a light on the unsung work by prison staff to look after the well-being and care of inmates and support them through their rehabilitation journey. Here's CIGTV's Simon Boxall.
The program included remarks from VIPs and prison leadership, which praised officers for their response to the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and a highly active hurricane season. Staff also received awards across 5 categories of service that ranged from rehabilitation to facilities management. A highlight of the evening was the presentation of an award by Deputy Governor Franz Manderson to custody managers Clara Range and Richard Barton, both of whom have invested 40 years in the prison service.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Police and soldiers in Myanmar have again opened fire on people protesting against last month's military coup, killing at least 5 demonstrators. That follows 50 deaths on Sunday, the worst single day of brutality since the demonstrations began. The BBC's Southeast Asia correspondent says the Burmese army has gone to war with its own people. The UN is calling for an end to the living nightmare of war in Syria, 10 years after Syrians first held huge rallies demanding peaceful political change. The Special Envoy for Syria, Geir Pedersen, will tell the Security Council there must be an end to the conflict that has since left hundreds of thousands of people dead or missing. The medical charity MSF has accused soldiers in the Ethiopian region of Tigray of carrying out deliberate and widespread looting of healthcare facilities since December. In response, the government said most were now operational. Gunmen have abducted a number of primary school pupils and their teachers in the northwestern Nigerian state of Kaduna, just days after dozens of students were taken from a college in the same state. Residents told the BBC that armed men attacked the government school on Monday morning. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
We are telling you ahead of time, giving you the heads up to get ready. The black tie affair with a circus twist. Step right up. The annual gala hosted by Rotary Central for the Alex Panton Foundation. Saturday, May 29th, Marriott Beach Hotel Ballroom. Step right up. Support the Alex Panton Foundation, dedicated to serving and preserving young people through vulnerable times, mental health intervention, treatment, guidance, preserving life. The ambience of a circus affair. Tickets are limited, tickets are precious. Get your tickets from Rotary Central members. Go online to Rotary Central and the Alex Panton Foundation Facebook pages. Rotary Central and the Alex Panton Foundation. Rotary opens opportunity.
Getting vaccinated is an important part of keeping our islands protected against COVID-19. All persons who are scheduled to be vaccinated must present a photo ID which shows you are legally and ordinarily resident in the Cayman Islands or have permission to stay for 6 months or more. Accepted IDs include a Cayman Islands driver's license, passport or voter's card, a global citizen's certificate, a work permit grant letter, extension letter or job letter from a local company, or a non-Caymanian passport which shows the holder has been landed with permission to be on island for 6 months or more. Essential workers must also present their work ID to show proof of employer. Anyone who has already received a first dose may still receive the second and must show their vaccination card. For more information on the vaccine program, visit www.hsa.ky.
Good day, this is Dr. Croy McCoy from the Department of Environment, and this is an important announcement for all boat operators, divers, and snorkelers. stony coral tissue loss disease is having a devastating impact on the Cayman Islands coral reef ecosystem. Pathogens on dive gear may survive for extended periods of time and can be transferred among reefs. If you're diving or snorkeling anywhere in the Cayman Islands and before traveling between Grand Cayman and the sister islands, please disinfect your boat bilges and dive gear in a 1% bleach solution for 10 minutes before diving or snorkeling in a new geographic location. For more information or to make any reports, please visit our website at www.doe.ky.
April 14th, 2021 is Election Day in the Cayman Islands.
Running for political office is no easy feat. You need to be everywhere, all of the time.
Now is the time to get your important messages out to the voting public.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, has always been there. Whether you want to get your political commercials or infomercials on air, make in-house studio appearances, or have your district meetings broadcast live to the listening audience.
Set a time today to meet with one of our knowledgeable Radio Cayman sales account executives who have their fingers on the pulse of the community.
Call them today on 949-7799 or email rcsales@gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, we've been in the community for just about 45 years. That means something.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Song Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 77 degrees. Relative humidity is 87%. The barometric pressure 30.01 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-northeast at 5 knots. Overnight low temperature was 73 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate easterly winds and seas are expected for the next 24 hours as a high-pressure system over the western Atlantic Ocean weakens. Radar images show isolated showers over the Cayman area moving west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Your winds will be easterly at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. And the forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the low 70s tonight. Your winds will be easterly at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 10:22, low tide this afternoon at 4:34, high tide again tonight at 3 minutes past 11. The sun will set this evening at 6:34 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:33. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're a family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life. People you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, break it down. Once the long-term goals are set, work backwards to set smaller and more manageable goals. These should be specific, measurable, and achievable. For example, study in the library for 1 hour 3 times per week instead of study more. Consider what you need to do daily, weekly, or by the end of the year in order to succeed. Smaller goals allow you to focus on the essential steps today to ensure you are prepared when tomorrow's opportunities become available.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at how your traffic is shaping up. Some roads are wet, so please drive with extra care. If you're coming from the east, especially on the Linford-Pearson Highway, traffic is busy. Delays expected as you're headed down to Georgetown. Edward Street and Shedden Road, traffic is flowing at a good pace. Moderate flow of traffic on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, and traffic steady but flowing on Huldah Avenue. On North Sound Road, some sections steady, other sections moderate. As we look to the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And on Crew Road, some traffic steady in some sections, other sections moderate. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or tick it and drive safe. Cayman Islands.
Things just got a bit hotter on the island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers and the motoring public of planned works to upgrade the water supply infrastructure along Anthony Drive between the Smith Road and Andy Drive intersections. Works will begin on Monday, 8th February, and the project will last 6 to 8 weeks. Through the course of the work, customers in the area may experience service outages. The authority makes every effort to give advance notice related to outages. Customers can also visit our website www.waterauthority.ky for updates or tune into Radio Cayman for outage notice. notices. Motorists are advised to avoid driving in the area between 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. weekdays during the works. If motorists must use the road, they are encouraged to drive with caution and follow all traffic signs to ensure their and the authorities' staff's safety. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it undertakes these works and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
The Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forums continue tonight at 7:15 and will feature candidates from Red Bay, James Samuel Sammy Jackson and Alden McLaughlin. You can watch the debates on Radio Cayman's Facebook page, CIG TV's cable channels, or on Chamber's YouTube channel.
So, Gianna, how often have you been flossing? I see. And are you still working over at the daycare? Okay. How are your boys doing? Right. Now you just tell me if this hurts.
With 99% of medical claims paid in under 5 days, we're like a dentist that doesn't try to talk to you with your mouth full.
That's a doozy.
CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life. Good like that.
Hey, another See What I Say with a good friend Ray.
Yes, sir. This time the topic is mosquitoes. Wait, not mosquito coast or the mosquito Indians, but the mosquito, the insects.
Mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
Not mosquitoes.
Not mosquitoes.
Not mozzies.
No.
Mosquitoes.
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 If you were born after 1960s, you don't appreciate how bad mosquitoes was.
I would even go further, man. If you were born after the release of GMOs, but this kid.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, ciao. Mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes could grab them by the handful. Mosquitoes.
Kill a cow, feed a horse.
Kill everything. I heard kill cow, kill dog, donkey, horse, cat. Kill every one of them.
Yeah, could even kill a mood. Mosquitoes.
See what I'm saying?
Is a special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
Mosquitoes, join us Friday,
March the 19th, the third Friday of the month. See what I'm saying? For mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
Good day, this is Dr. Croy McCoy from the Department of Environment, and this is an important announcement for all boat operators, divers, and snorkelers. Stony coral tissue loss disease is having a devastating impact on the Cayman Islands coral reef ecosystem. Pathogens on dive gear may survive for extended periods of time and can be transferred among reefs. If you're diving or snorkeling anywhere in the Cayman Islands and before traveling between Grand Cayman and the sister islands, please disinfect your boat bilges and dive gear in a 1% bleach solution for 10 minutes before diving or snorkeling in a new geographic location. For more information or to make any reports, please visit our website at www.doe.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Still have some additional information to share with you. This one is extremely important because it will take place at 9 o'clock this morning, and this is a bulletin sent out by the National Roads Authority about road works on the Bordentown Main Road starting today, March the 15th. National Roads Authority and its subcontractor will be paving a section of Bordentown Road in central Bordentown from today, Monday the 15th, to Friday, March the 19th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So as a result of that, the eastbound traffic will be diverted on Condor Road by the Bordentown Primary School. Westbound traffic will allow one lane only through the work zone. So if you're heading west towards town, one lane only. If you're heading east, you turn off on Condor Road right next to the Bordentown Primary School, and you take that, I think that's also known as Anton Borden Way. You take that to go east as well. Motorists are asked to keep watch for traffic diversions and closures. Local traffic will be allowed through. So if you live in the area that is affected, that is being paved, you will be allowed through. But through traffic, like for instance, if you're living north side or east end or Breakers, anywhere east of that area and you're coming in to town, one lane only. If you're heading east and you're not living in the area that is affected by the roadworks, you have to take Condor Road right next to the Bordentown Primary School. And you can contact the NRA if you have any issues or any questions, 525-1251. So that is for that. Also, like I said earlier, I hadn't seen anything about a statement put out by CUC in relation to the outages on Saturday, but yes, they did. And this is a statement by them, and it says that the preliminary findings from the outages which occurred on Saturday are as follows. The two initial outages which impacted the loss of the South Sound feeder started at around 12:34 p.m. and was due to a failed insulator on the transmission line feeding the South Sound substation. It occurred during the time when the backup feed to the substation was out of service as a result of road upgrades. Being carried out by the National Roads Authority at Grand Harbor. Customers affected by the outage had their power restored at 2:01 p.m. The third outage affecting the entire eastern loop on all customers east of South Sound occurred around 3:23 p.m. While unrelated to the first two outages, this was due to a failed insulator on the transmission line feeding the Frank Sound substation. This outage occurred during the time that the backup transmission line from the previous outage was being repaired. Power to customers affected by this outage was restored at 4:25 p.m. There was also a motor vehicle accident involving a CUC pole on the Linford-Pearson Highway. This resulted in loss of power to customers at the downtown Reach Apartments. The outage occurred at around 3:46 p.m. and power was restored to all customers at 7:49 p.m. CUC apologizes for any inconvenience these outages may have caused our customers on Saturday as well. So they have shared all of that with us, letting us know exactly what's happening. And of course, the motor vehicle accident should be highlighted as well in that. I think there was some rain in town during that time. Of course, that there is no need. That's no excuse, because you should be adjusting your driving to suit the particular weather conditions that have occurred. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Ottie. Good morning.
Good morning.
I called you about 2 weeks ago about this outage that I have going on.
Yes.
Slow. And to this day, it's going into the 5th week. We still have no telephone and no TV.
Wow.
In our home. So I was wondering whether you've heard anything further.
No, I haven't.
I don't really understand why it's taking this long to resolve.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I know that other areas that were affected, including where I live, that the service was restored, and some devices that had been given to us or loaned to us to allow access, Wi-Fi access, they were retrieved, and we were told that they were they were going to be given to other customers who had been affected. But I haven't heard any more, but I will certainly try to make inquiries, and whatever I'm able to find out, I will certainly announce it here on Wednesday, God willing.
Yeah, because I still have a message that says that my telephone has been barred and we will have no live television in our house.
Wow.
And I don't understand really why it's taken this long to resolve this. We had a box for internet access delivered after a week, and we haven't had any further communication from Flo or anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm mad, so it would really be interesting to see how long they intend to take and drag this thing out at the expense of customers.
Yes.
And it's so prolific, really, that we don't have anything that gives protection to consumers when things like this happen, and that it can just be dragged on as if people don't really exist and that services don't really need to be restored. I don't know why somebody's telephone line should be barred and you don't have access to that. That is beyond me.
Yeah.
The TV is one thing, but certainly not the ability to have the telephone access is just something else.
Certainly. Have you heard any of the candidates talking anything about any consumer protection agencies, watchdogs?
And I've attended many of the meetings, and I've listened over whether it's through Facebook access or YouTube, and a lot of them mentioned this consumer protection, but a lot of people didn't know that I'm still in a rut with not having services provided. So, and I don't know how many other people are like me in terms of not having the service. The other person are like me that will have to say something about it. So, but somebody needs to say something, and that was the same company I had before that nobody's had anything to say. There might have been some statement by off, right, but they themselves have nothing to say. So it's still really I just sit here in awe today, 15th of March, to know that we're still in the same predicament.
Yes.
1 month ago on the 14th of April.
Yes, that is utterly ridiculous. Yep.
Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much as well.
More ability to get some information that I've been able to get.
I will certainly check on it for you and let you know as well. Susan, time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Ropers. Appliances, dishware, bulk foods, and so much more. With huge savings. Ropers is stocked for your hurricane supplies. Don't cut back on your needs. Cut back on your spending with Ropers. Your neighborhood store. Value. Integrity. Ropers Enterprises. 122 Industrial Way. Call 949-2511. Clean up your spending with Ropers. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
I can't believe that we have an agency of government whose purpose it is to regulate utilities for the interests of all parties, and they're refusing to do their job. They need to make a ruling on this. I mean, there's no excuses, right? And what's sad about all of this is that when the agency fails to do its job, the public is just silent, as if the public doesn't even have any interest in defending their own interests in this matter. And this, I just find this so confusing. Because, I mean, I'm sure you would defend yourself if you had the opportunity and the means to, right?
Exactly. Yes, yes.
But, like, what is it that that we think that somehow things are just going to magically get done without our participation when we are the check on government? I don't understand that. I really don't get it. But having said that, it's a shame that Ofreg has not taken the position that they're going to rule on this matter. And this is just dragging out. This is totally unacceptable. Am I misunderstanding what's going on?
I don't think you are. I think the last thing that we saw from Ofreg that came out was something about their approval of the new consumer-owned renewable energy core. That's the last thing that they released, which was on the 10th of March.
All right, I'll go off on that one. We're not going to really be benefiting from alternative energy if we go down the road of treating alternative energy just simply as a new source of energy for the power company. The systems have to be owned by the public, okay? And we have to benefit from the savings. It can't be so marginally different that you don't hardly realize anything. Because those systems are really actually quite expensive. And so you're essentially, it's not free, you're prepaying for your electricity 20 years in advance. And if the difference is significant enough, then you benefit from it. But if you can't afford to buy the system, you're not going to realize the benefit except some small difference if you go down the route of having these farms, these solar farms in remote locations, and you're just changing from petroleum to solar, but you're not really getting the full benefit of the system by doing it that way. And even the terms, the fact that you have to first sell it to the power company and then buy it back from the power company means that what you're in essence doing is giving the control over the price right back to the power company. And that doesn't allow the individual to realize the actual benefit that you can get from solar. But main call was to just express my deep concern that people, having a telephone and being able to use it for computer or even voice, this is not like a luxury anymore.
Exactly, yes, it's a necessity.
This is a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have something like this drag out, and the agency that is responsible for making decisions when issues come up, not do anything is totally unacceptable. And I don't know why this is allowed to just drag out this way. Can you imagine? This is an election year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You would think it would actually get done quicker in an election year. But it seems like all of the rules that would normally apply have just totally been suspended.
Well, we hope and we trust that.
I'm asking Mr. Franz Manderson to get to the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to be held accountable for not doing their job. Because I believe that's what the case is.
Okay.
I think of anything why they could pull utility companies in and then not make a decision. They have the power to make a decision. So act.
Okay. Caller, have another caller we want to accommodate. We want to thank you very much for that. And we hope and we trust that some of these questions are also being channeled through whatever forum that have been established in terms of debate between the various candidates as well. Let's grab the other caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. You know who this is? This is Sam.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm hanging in.
How are things over in your neck of the woods?
Oh, we're not too good right now. I'm calling for, you know, we live on Green Hill Lane on the bluff, 42 Green Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And they start the road up here. They rip it, they clear it, they fill in, they roll it, they wet it, they leave it. And, I mean, it's been like this now for about, I would say, could be our month.
Mm-hmm.
And the dust is killing us. The ridge stuff, you know, the range from the quarry rock got a red mold in it.
Okay. And this is the government doing this road work?
It's the government doing it.
Okay.
Every time I see the guy, he didn't know what's going on. You know? But everybody sent to somebody else. The government, I don't know who in charge of the government.
And you have your own equipment up there, so it's not like you're waiting for equipment to come from Grand Cayman, right?
No, they took the equipment from here. The guy took the roller from here. Then the guy was here marking the line out in the center of the road, so they were going to start it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I think up that morning, saw the roller going up. They went way up on the south side, on the spot bay area, and started doing homes up there from the road right to the door. And I said, man, what's going on? You know? So I said, I never called the talk show. This is the first time I called the talk show. You know that.
Yep. Haven't heard from you in a while.
And, I mean, all I'm asking, if the government hear me, please come and finish our road before one of these kids gets sick up here with this dust.
Mm-hmm. How many people can vote in that area up on that road? Do you have enough?
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 11 people.
That's enough that can swing an election.
That's right. That's enough. And I'm telling you right now, I am so fed up that I don't want my body to come after me about number voting because I don't want to hear nothing about vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because, I mean, if I don't vote, I mean, people don't have respect for people, man. Come on, man. You know?
Or they should at least have some viable reason or excuse as to why they haven't completed it and why they have gone somewhere else.
Yeah, the guy tells me, say, boy, the machine broke down. But the machine broke down, they're doing something else. That's what you understand. They think of that. I worked for government for over 5 years. On the road, in the garbage dump. They can't tell you them kind of stuff. I know what's happening there. They're just doing the people that their friends or their big shots or somebody can throw a couple of dollars on the road somewhere down the line. But at the end of the day, they're coming to you and ask you for vote. See? They go, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
Well, I wish you luck, but keep the pressure on. Keep the pressure on. If there's a time to put the pressure on, this is the time to do so.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. Okay, we'll see. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
I believe, Ms. Susan, we can grab one more caller before we go to the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. How are you all doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm just calling to say that there's no time now for a judicial review. The country has been locked down now for 9 months to a year. Judicial review, if it was necessary, should have been done a long time ago. But the main thing I'm calling for is because I'm asking in the most humblest way, as a woman of abuse, or a woman that has been abused, I should say. I am asking all us women, particularly the women, but I know that there are some men too that are probably being abused, but I speak on behalf of the women. I'm asking all women that knows what abuse is all about, particularly to stand behind Mr. Mario. He's a man of caliber, a man of decency, and I'm sure some of the things that we are facing here in our district of West Bay with our representative, particularly in the representative of North West Bay West, I'm sure we are not going. I will put my head on the chopping block. We never heard it before, and we're not going to hear it again. We will not have those sort of discrepancies, sort of indecency going on in our legislative assembly with our members of parliament if we had representative or a representation like Mr. Mario. And I urge women strongly, whether they have been abused, whether they're not being abused, to stand behind Mr. Mario. And Mr. Mario, from me, you know who I am. God bless you, and I wish you all the luck in this coming election, particularly in your district.
Thank you.
God bless us all as a nation.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
caller. Time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
For the Record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the Record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We know that this gentleman is extremely busy because it is getting near to the 14th of April, which is election day. But today, the supervisor of elections, Mr. Wesley Howell, is celebrating a birthday. So we want to wish him a happy birthday. And I'm sure that the staff at the elections office will have a little shindig for him at some point in time during the course of the day as well. They are extremely, extremely busy. But we want to wish Mr. Howell a happy birthday today. Also, Miss Diana Moore of West Bay. Want to wish her a very happy 90th birthday today. And messages are coming in and saying that, and may God richly bless her to have many happy returns as well. So Miss Diana Moore, 90 years of age today. Happy birthday, Miss Diana Moore as well. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Wesley Howell, Supervisor of Elections, celebrating birthday today as well. What a time to be celebrating a birthday. Busy for him and his staff. And I gave you the information earlier about the issuing of the voter registration cards as well. That's being done. And you can also visit their offices, Marin's Plaza on West Bay Road as well. Here's something of note also. And we've talked about the success, Cayman's success in combating the COVID-19 situation, due mainly to the actions taken by the government, equally due to the public's response and the public's adherence to the regulations that were put in place, despite some persons breaching those, and we some of them have made headlines, and we have seen them being prosecuted and punished for those breaches as well. There's still more out there. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen in the BRAC in relation to the two individuals there. I think they're both government employees, one a nurse and one working maybe for Port Authority, who are in breach. And then, of course, the big news in relation to the sentence, read this on the weekend, Cayman News Service, about the sentencing of the gentleman who was convicted, who pled, I think in one case may have pled guilty for ammunition and firearms, and was put on bail, traveled off to the United States, never returned. Got more details on that, but I don't want to rely on just the reporting of one news outlet, because sometimes we see news outlets have a tendency to not necessarily give you all of the factual information. I tried going back looking at the other reports that had been made in relation to the case, but what we have to be careful of, the people of the Cayman Islands already, some people in the Cayman Islands already have this perception that we have two justice systems. One for those who can afford it, the rich who can afford the lawyers who will be able to argue their cases effectively, and those who are unable to afford lawyers, and as a result of that, end up getting the short end. And I say short in this case. There are other words I could use there, but we'll use short in this instance because it is a talk show and it is in the morning, and we do have so I'll use short end of the stick. And they feel that it is not fair. I have seen comments being made in relation to others who were found with firearms, who were treated differently. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not the government will choose to appeal the sentencing in this particular case. What will also be interesting is that the gentleman felt that if he were incarcerated in the Cayman Islands, that because of his medical condition, the islands did not have the type of, could not offer the type of care that he required. So it'll be interesting now to see, since that individual has not been given a custodial sentence, whether or not he will then choose to now return to the Cayman Islands to continue to resume his residence and to build his residence in the Cayman Islands. Although I believe what was reported in the case was that whatever fines that were imposed somewhere in the vicinity of $45,000, that once the property has been sold, that some of the proceeds from that sale will go towards paying his court fines. But when you look at the story, yes, there may be compelling arguments that the judge used in relation to the type of sentence that he imposed, but not all people in the Cayman Islands are seeing it that way. And like I said earlier, they believe that we have two different standards in the Cayman Islands when it comes to the dispensation of justice in the Cayman Islands. And some even have commented and say justice isn't blind, because it is looking at those who don't have the wherewithal to properly defend themselves. It is looking at you, seeing you, whereas it may be blind when it comes to others. So just my thought on that, but I will be talking more about it. Of course, you have to be very, very careful when you're criticizing the justice system and any justice in particular, but I will certainly do my research and I will restrict my comments to the facts as they are presented, and if it is possible to get the full judgment of the judge in this particular case, the written judgment, I will get that as well. But right now, the optics aren't good. People believe that there's not a level playing field when it comes to the haves and the have-nots in the Cayman Islands as well. And like I said, some people are wondering whether or not this sentence will be appealed by the Attorney General's office or the DPP's office, whichever has to do so, whether or not that will be done as well. I know I strayed off a little bit because I wanted to tell you we're talking about the success of our COVID-19 situation. And I keep hearing about this judicial review. I'll try to find out more about that as well. Or we do have Mr. Mario Ebanks, who will be on with us from 9:30 until 10 o'clock this morning, a paid slot on For the Record. And maybe I can inquire from him about that. But meanwhile, because of our success, the emergency field hospital that was established at the Family Life Center to support the local COVID-19 preparedness strategy was fully demobilized on Sunday, the 28th of February. All assets of the 60-bed facility have been appropriately placed into storage by Hazard Management Cayman Islands HMCI, should the need arise for the hospital to be remobilized or reallocated for other national and potentially regional disaster situations. So that facility has been demobilized. Natural disasters based on the climate change reports and everything else, they're likely to happen more frequent. We're likely to have more severe hurricanes and everything. So while we may be thinking regionally about assisting, we also have to remember that we ourselves here may be needed. The other thing is, and this is not a politically paid announcement, but we must give credit where credit is due. Governments, you heard on the last press briefing, the financial secretary and new head of the PPM group, the now Minister of Finance, Honorable Roy McTaggart, speak about the deficit and somewhere around about $34-35 million. That is great. That is good to know as well. And one question that I have to ask you, and maybe someone will call in and have some input in this. Are we going into this election again with only one or two individuals who are identified as leaders and deputy leaders, premier and possibly deputy premier, if the coalition were to get the majority of seats? Are we going to be left in suspense again in terms of not knowing what other form of leadership we may possibly get here in the Cayman Islands? The question is, which country in this day and age goes to the polls and you don't know whether or what party, if they were to come into power, who the leadership will be? In this case, we only know it on one side. We don't know it on the other side. Is that good for business? Is that good for investors? Is that good for local people to be sitting on the edge of their seat come the 15th of April or the 16th, or it could go on for a week or two, not knowing what's going to happen? We need answers. We need to know it. And that is why those independent candidates need to tell us where they sit when it comes to where they will throw their support. Top of the hour, headline news, 9 o'clock. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have here on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 624 COVID-19 tests on Friday. 5 came back positive, all travelers who tested as part of routine screening. By the end of the day, on Friday, more than 21,000 people had gotten at least one COVID-19 vaccine in the Cayman Islands. Tens of thousands of people have turned out to marches across Australia, protesting against the sexual abuse and harassment of women in the country. They were spurred by a recent wave of allegations of sexual assault centered around Australia's parliament. The allegations have focused scrutiny on the Conservative government. The protests were organized a week ago after the Attorney General revealed he was the subject of a 1988 rape allegation, which he denies. The U.S. has increased its global share of arms exports to 37% during the last 5 years, according to a Swedish-based research institute. Increased exports by the U.S., France, and Germany were offset by declining Russian and Chinese exports. Imports and exports remain close to their highest level since the end of the Cold War, although this may change from the impact of the pandemic. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. We will have Mr. Mario Ebanks, a candidate in West Bay West electoral district, with us in the studio at 9:30 this morning. Let's follow up on my last comment in relation to what the leadership in the Cayman Islands is likely to look like after the April 14th general elections. We have no idea. We do know that if the progressives win their and we do have some independent candidates identifying with them, we do know what the leadership will be there. Other than that, we don't know, and there's likely to be a good possibility there will be a whole lot of horse trading going on, leaving a whole lot of uncertainty in the Cayman Islands, uncertainty that we don't need at this point in time because we have so many important issues that we have to deal with, including continuing to be successful in combating the COVID-19 pandemic as well. But folks, 1965, that would be what? 35 and 21, 56 years ago? Something like that, yeah? 56 years ago. From a political standpoint, the Cayman Islands were much more advanced than we are today. And those days, we just barely had telephones that were introduced in around about the same year, 1964, 1965. No Facebook, no WhatsApp, no cell phones. And we had what? We had political parties. And here's an article from the Tradewinds newspaper, the 4th of November, 1965. Vigorous campaigning has continued since last week reports. 2 meetings were held in Georgetown by those styling themselves members of the National Democratic Party. But in compliance with the specific requests of their leader, no report of their meeting is being published. It goes on to say a meeting was held in West Bay by Messrs. Benson Ebanks, John Bothwell, and Prentice Powell. Mr. Benson Ebanks opened, stating, "Let no one tell you that we are connected in any way with any political party." There goes the denial then. In fact, there are not, in our opinions, any political parties active as such in these islands. He deplored gutter politics and expressed pity for the Christian Democrat, liking their actions to that of mentally retarded children, not grown up responsible men. Sorry that I had to read that because it's part of it, because in this day and age we would not refer to persons with mental disabilities in such a way. We would not be comparing them to grown men because they are a part of families. They are a part of this society. They have equal protection and equal standing as well. But that is how they were referred to then. He introduced James Prentice Powell, who described West Bay as the island's largest district, over 2,000 souls. He criticized something stating there should be a local delivery, the post office, and said there should be a local delivery, and complained of no electricity where he lived. He felt that young men should not have to pay tax before leaving the islands to foreign jobs. That was called the head tax. So if you were got your call to go on one of national bulk carriers, you had to ensure that you paid your head tax before you left. Can't remember how much that head tax was because I never had to pay it. If you remember what the head tax was it 18 shillings? I'm not sure. Please let me know. So Mr. John Bothwell, described as our number 2 gun, he was described that, said he wished to correct propaganda and malicious slander. He reviewed his October 21st speech, stating that he intended to rip them open, referring to the Christian Democrats, and defended himself. He promised to fix roads if he was elected. Mr. Benson Ebanks then emphasized that he did not favor internal self-government, pointing out that the present complaints stemming from the representation the people have received rather than any defect in the Constitution. He referred to a resolution to the Secretary of State in June 1962, in which Mr. Farrington asked for internal self-government. He promised honest, enlightened representation, improved schools with sanitary facilities and graduate teachers in the high schools with playing fields for the students. He charged that Spurgeon Ebanks and T.W. Farrington stood condemned on their past record. He refuted Farrington's allegations of his misconduct with Barclays Bank and regaled Farrington having to defend himself against claims for debt. He stated, "I think Castro is to Cuba what Spurgeon Ebanks and Willa Farrington are to Cayman, a menace to our country." Wow, those are powerful words, very, very strong allegations. He reiterated his pledge to go back to the people on important matters, such as establishment of a casino and constitutional change. Another meeting was held at the Islander Theater in Georgetown. The first speaker was Melvin Gorin, who gave a fiery speech warning that if internal self-government was here, we would have another Castro, Cuba. He claimed that those favoring internal self-government were grasping for power and would stop at nothing. Second speaker was Captain Eldon Colonel, who explained that in the 1962 election, he was a member of the National Democratic Party, explaining that not one person who would step forward today for that party in the Legislative Assembly. I have to scroll down to page 8 to get the rest of it. Please bear with me. Page 8 coming up. Page 8 coming up. Here we go. Page 8, camping. Lesser Islands, nor in North Side, nor in West Bay, although 3 had come forward in Georgetown claiming to be the party, and he asked why 3 of the former 6 supporters of that so-called party had left it. He asked how internal self-government could be financed and warned against the additional expenses to pay ministers when we are already having to borrow, asking, how can they give more for less? He stated that the time was not ripe for internal self-government, pointing out that God had made us to crawl before we walk and walk before we run, and that we should do the same insofar as government is concerned. I'm not sure that he was accurate about, God making us to crawl before we walk. I've heard of instances where some young infants do not go through the crawling stage at all. They start walking and skip that crawling stage. So that may not have been a 100% accurate statement made at that point in time as well. He emphasized the importance of stable government to encourage investment. As to a casino, he stated that those who were at that meeting knew who were for it and who were against it. Ms. Anna Hulda Borden gave a reply to comments that were made by the National Democratic candidates. Mr. Burke LaBush pointed out that when he was appointed to the Executive Council, the grant from Commonwealth Development and Welfare was only £20,000 a year, whereas they now have a pledge of £120,000 over 3 years because we asked for it. He answered charges by the wizard, and you know who the wizard was, right? That was Mr. Ormond Panton. About his relationship with him, he stated that internal self-government meant ministers who would do what the party wanted and draw salaries of £1,800 to £2,000 a year. We've gone way past that now. He charged that the National Democratic Party candidates had merely obstructed progress in the last assembly and had been against constructive proposals. He charged that the party system had divided the island, which was too small and too closely related for the party system to work effectively, and had done harm. The meeting closed by the singing of the national anthem. Those days we didn't even sing the national song. And so we're so extremely thankful to our new national hero for that national song as well. But if you want a contrast between what took place in 1965 and what is taking place now, there is some contrast, and there are things that simply remain the same. I hope I have enough time when we return to let you know what the results of those 1965 elections were, and those were reported in the November 18th, 1965 issue of the Trade Winds newspaper. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Whether you're finishing a new condo, upgrading your rental property, or simply renovating, make Roper's Enterprises your first stop. Quality furniture at a fraction of the price. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Roper's, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Your home deserves a quality finish. Visit their showroom or shop online at ropers.ky. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
Making a dent in traffic congestion is everyone's responsibility. This March 22nd to the 26th, join your community for Car Free Week, a countrywide initiative by the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Carpooling, cycling, public transport, join a park and ride program, or perhaps working from home. Your boss will understand. Visit energy.gov.ky for more information for park and ride options. Take the car-free pledge and enter into the raffle. Traffic may stand still, but the car-free movement is moving ahead. Join your community. Take the pledge March 22nd to the 26th.
The following is a paid announcement by Mr. Ralston Anglin. The community is invited to the West Bay North campaign launch of Ralston Anglin, candidate number 1 in the upcoming election for the electoral district of West Bay North, on Monday, March 15th at 7 p.m. at Teacher Al Park at the old schoolhouse site in Bosun Bay. The proceeding was a paid political announcement by Mr. Ralston Anglin.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Have a few more minutes left, so before we have some more commercial breaks, and then we will have Mr. Mario Ebanks on as well. So the Tradewinds newspaper on the 18th of November 1965 reported an decisive anti-self-government vote, and some of the candidates elected: Captain Elunka Colonel with 295 votes in Georgetown, Mr. Burke LaBush with 252 votes in Georgetown, Miss Annie Hulda Borden with 200 and looks like 50 votes in Georgetown as well. Of course, this was when you could vote for more than one candidate. Then in West Bay, you had Mr. Benson Ebanks with 369 votes, Mr. T.W. Farrington of West Bay with 359 votes, and Mr. Spurgeon Ebanks of West Bay with 342 votes. For Bordentown, we had Mr. Anton Borden with 217 votes, Mr. Richard Arch with 199 votes, and in East End, we had Mr. Warren Conley with 106 votes. I believe that the candidate, Mr. Craddock in Northside, went in unopposed, and I believe the same may have been true for the sister islands as well, but I will check to make sure that I have that right at some point in time. So very quickly, I'll share this part with you also. You may recall that Mr. Ernest Panton, who was an assistant administrator, had retired, and he had been appointed to the post of PRO, Public Relations Officer for the government. And he wrote a column in the Tradewinds newspaper at that time in 1965 as well. And here's what it reads. He says that the elections are now over. People have decided who they want to represent them in the Legislative Assembly. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations also to the losers who put up a very good fight. Let there be no heart burnings, no feelings of ill will. There remains now for the elected members to settle down and work together in a united effort to fulfill as far as possible the promises they made in their electioneering campaigns. Our islands are passing through an era of development and prosperity hitherto unknown, but we must remember, as Martin Luther said, that the prospect of a country depends not on the abundance of its revenues, not on the strength of its fortifications, not on the beauty of its buildings, but it consists in the number of its men and women of enlightenment and character. Within the life of the new assembly, it is my hope that our representatives will find the time to call together and consult with their constituents and hear from them their views on matters of importance to the community at large. This will strengthen their stand in the assembly because they will feel conscientiously that they are seeking no personal gain, but are working towards the advancement and good of the people who had confidence in their ability and integrity to vote for them to serve them voluntarily as their elected representatives. On the other hand, our representatives cannot think of everything, and members of each constituency should feel free to call on them and put to them any suggestions they may have for improving conditions in their districts and matters relating to the general welfare of the people. I am certain our representatives will follow the words of George Bernard Shaw, who said, "When I was a young man, I observed that 9 out of every 10 things I did were failures. I didn't want to be a failure, so I did 10 times more work." So, for those out there who are seeking elected office, your work will be cut out for you in the Legislative Assembly as well, because while we are all in the same position in terms of prosperity in the Cayman Islands, that prosperity is divided differently than it was in those days. We have more haves and we have more have-nots in the Cayman Islands, or some may say we have less haves and more have-nots in the Cayman Islands. We see the issue when it comes to criminal justice in the Cayman Islands as well. We see the whole issue of Caymanians, employment of Caymanians, or Caymanian identity being threatened as well. Lots of challenges as well. So, in about 5 minutes, we will hear from one of those candidates how he will seek to deal with the challenges that now face the Cayman Islands. We are going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have Mr. Mario Ebanks in the studio with us, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com, or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appliance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring, Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Honey, Our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
Shaken yet standing firm.
I was not built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
The following is a paid political broadcast. The views, information, or opinions expressed in this forum are solely those of the participants of this event and do not represent the views of the management and staff of Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. This is a paid slot on For the Record, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me again this morning Mr. Mario Ebanks, who is a candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections. He's seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our Parliament. Mr. Ebanks, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C. Thank you for having me, and thanks to Radio Cayman for doing this. And I want to also say good morning to all of our listeners in West Bay West, West Bay, Grand Cayman, Cayman Islands, and around the world. It's good to be back. When we last spoke, it was on the 8th of March. Yes. And at that time, we talked about some of my background and some of my history and where I've come from. And we started talking a bit about policy. And so I appreciate the opportunity to continue with this program, which, as you mentioned, is a paid program. But I just arrived here this morning because I was at a 1 hour debate on Rooster Crosstalk with Mr. Barry Quappe and Mr. Kevin Morales. It was supposed to be with myself and Mr. McKeever Bush, but he didn't show up. Mm-hmm. No show. Mr. McKeever, no show. But it's disrespectful, for the hosts, hostess, Ms. Barry, and Mr. Kevin, and all of the listeners, for him just to decide not to show up. And what he appears to prefer to do is go around at his public meetings and throw out mud and untruths, but he's afraid to face me, to debate the issues, and to be cross-examined. And so that is a cowardice act. And like I say, he didn't show up. I'm here this morning to talk about solutions and policies. But I also heard this morning on Radio Cayman a very weak paid political statement by Mr. McKeever. And in that statement, he was talking about somehow trying to say that I am for income tax, simply because one of the persons who nominated me, Mr. Troy Leacock, in his personal social media page, he talks about income tax and talking about tax fairness. He's talking about tax fairness. And Mr. McKeever now, in his wisdom, his political genius, always having alternative facts and another agenda, is trying to put that income tax handle on my shoulders. And I had to remind him today, and I did previously, that he's running against Mario E. Banks in West Bay West, not Troy Leacock or anybody else. And so I have no agenda around income tax. The thing that I said then and I say now is that I believe that it is time to stop the wanton, reckless giving away of tax revenue and giving all these concessions to these large developers, especially those building on 7 Mile Beach. Those folks are going to make millions and millions of dollars of profit on those projects. Cayman doesn't need to incentivize them at this time because the economy is booming. As a matter of fact, the development is just over the top. So, but Mr. McKeever and his surrogates and the current government, rather than them trying to get revenue to help us through this pandemic, they're giving away money to these large developers. So he's trying to accuse me of wanting income tax, which is wrong, which is false. But he is not saying about what he and his surrogates are doing in terms of giving these large developers tax breaks and concessions, while at the same time Caymanian families and Caymanian children are feeling the pressure. People are living in their cars, people are living in their boats on dry land, but they're giving away money to these large developers. But I also want to say, Mr. Wassi, in terms of tax, you remember this because you're a keen observer and you've been around for a long time. I believe it was around about 2010, 12 range, Mr. McKeever, when he was leader of government business, he proposed a thing that was called community enhancement fee, but that was an income tax. He said we had to do it to balance the budget, so he went around town hall meetings and whatnot in the country pushing this thing about this community enhancement fee. And I have all the information on it. I was not in government then, and but he went out to I think there was a big meeting that was called by the Chamber of Commerce or the business community at the Lion Centre. The Lion Centre was packed to capacity with people, and they almost ate him alive up there, him and the government, for proposing this income tax, which he called a community enhancement fee. Nice words, sounds good, but it was an income tax. So in the West Bay West race between myself and Mr. McKeever, he's the only one who has proposed income tax. What he's trying to say now is me. It's him. The record is clear. It's there. The public record is there. So I am in favor of providing proper taxes in terms of environmental impact fees and infrastructure impact fees on large developments. And that money will go into a separate fund to deal with environment protection, social services, education, infrastructure, that those developments cause that impact. But I am not in favor of income tax. Cayman, as I said to you when I came the last time, we are a consumption-based tax economy where we pay import duties on a lot of things, and that's where the revenue comes from. We have fees on financial services, entities, registration fees, etc. We have other income, indirect taxes. But we're not a tax-free country. We pay tax now. So many of those taxes that we call fees and are consumption-based, many of those were brought in place while Mr. McKeever was in house for the last 36 years. So if he wants to call those taxes as well, he was there when those were brought in. He hasn't reduced many of those in the time that he's been there. But he can't put the blame or put the handle of income tax on me. He's the income tax man and not me.
Okay. Now, I know, and we know your one of your fortes, has to do with human development, and you want to talk about human capital as well as talent management in the Cayman Islands as well.
Thank you. And so, see, I know you were a previous Chief Immigration Officer, and under you came the administrative responsibility for the immigration boards, the Business Staffing Plan Board, and the Work Permit Board. And so a lot of this stuff you would have faced as well in your career. But I am a human resource professional. I have a bachelor's degree in international finance and marketing with a minor in economics and public affairs. And I also have a master in business administration and a number of other certificates and credentials in human capital, human resource development, and management. And one of the things I've enjoyed in my career so far, in my life so far, is the issue of human resources, human capital development, and training and learning in the workplace and in the community. And my plan for, if I'm elected in West Bay West on the 14th of April, is that in our manifesto, which is now being finalized, is a big body of work around the issue of human resources, human capital development, and training, and elevating the Caymanian pool of talent. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to review all of the employment-related legislation. So we're going to review the labour law as it currently stands. We look at the immigration law as it currently stands in relation to training, and we're going to put in place a new labour relations law or Labour Relations Act. When I was as Director of Labour and Pensions previously, we actually did propose a labour relations bill. Myself and the Minister, Ms. Tara, went around the country with other people to talk about that. And it was not perfect, but it was a lot better than we have now. The existing labour law is confusing. It doesn't have enough teeth, and it needs to be brought up to standard in terms of human rights, but also in terms of best practices. So we're going to be doing that as part of our talent management, is to make sure we have a proper labour relations law or a new labour law that provides workplace protection, also provides for equity. The other part of our plan is we're going to review the existing work department. The work department, as you know, stands for Workforce Opportunities Residency Cayman. And that department is really, pardon me for saying this, but I think that department is, for the large part, just a renaming, because I don't think they've done a whole lot of improvements since they were called immigration. Because they don't have the resources, they don't have the IT or information technology platforms that they need. Their online portals tend to be problematic for employees and employers. The reports that they generate to the boards are lacking. And so we are going to look at that whole department, what it needs to be fit for purpose. But we're also going to join work with the labour section of the existing Department of Labour and Pensions. And we're going to bring it all together by proposing a new Human Capital Development Authority, a new authority whose primary role will be to look at training, Caymanization, workplace relations, health and safety in the workplace, everything that the labour does now except pensions, and also the stuff that work does that they do under the powers of the immigration law amendment, and bring it all together under one umbrella and have it more accountable, have it more fit for purpose and fit for the 21st century, because what we have now is really a 1972 model, which was when the protection law was first brought in. It's been tweaked over the years, but it still is nowhere near where it should be. I was hoping that this government, with the Premier, Mr. McLaughlin, who started his work career as a labour inspector, I was hoping that he would have some sympathy for the workplace and for the workers. And but I listened to some of their meeting the other night, their launch meeting that they had, the Progressive and their alliance partners. I did not hear anybody talk about labour reform, any kind of training and human capital development. Nada, nothing. And I was disappointed with that. So we're going to change that. And we're going to bring in place the long overdue Human Capital Development Authority. That follows a suggestion that was made in the National Strategic Plan, Vision 2008. And we're going to dust that off, we're going to improve it, and we're going to do that. So the second plank in our talent management is a new Labour Relations Law or Act and a Human Capital Development Authority.
And what sort of outcomes are you looking for when all of this has been reimagined?
Yes. We're going to look for Caymanians being able to move up in their careers to meet their full potential. You know, years ago, there was more Caymanians as managers of banks in this island than there are now. So you had, I don't want to call names or banks, but you know who they are. They were upstanding Caymanians who are now retired.
Yep.
And they were managers of banks, and they were globally equipped, these Caymanians. Now they're retired, and their jobs are filled by non-Caymanians. So one of the measures that we're going to look at is people being able to move up. We also want to make sure that if you have an employer who is treating his employees, especially Caymanian employees, like they're animals, why should that employer also get a rubber stamp in all their work permits? What's happening now because of the disconnect between labor and between work? Somebody can be a horrible employer, but on the other hand, they can get their permits because there's no connectivity. When I was director of labor, there was complaints that we had of certain people. There were people who were actually before the labor tribunal. And I tried to tell, and the inspectors tried to also have a dotted line to the immigration to let them know, but they were not looking at that. They couldn't, right? If we join these two things up, there'll be transparency. And if you are going to play games in your workplace, you're going to pay the price when you come to work permits.
And you would have the legislative framework to back that up, because you were saying that, while there was no connectivity between labor and work, and probably no legislative arrangements in place that they could use the information that they receive from labor to bring sanctions against those employers as well.
Yes. So the Human Capital Development Authority would also have to be a creature of legislation. So you'd have to have a Human Capital Development Act or whatever you call it. They would also bring the powers to that. But you would have to have all those rules clearly enshrined in the regulations and transparent and enforced, and make sure that everybody is aware of them. When I was with the Director of Labour and Pensions, we tried to put in place something called a culture of compliance. So we worked with Immigration, Trade and Business Licensing Department, Health Insurance Commission, and of course, pensions was National Pension Office was also within that department.
Yes.
So those four entities had something called a culture of compliance, right? So we were sharing information between each other, but we had to be careful because we had to have the legislative right to share information, and now with the
data protection,
you got to be even more careful.
Yes.
But we can make that connection between those entities, make it in legislation, so there's no question. Because some of those folks, for example, and I know that there's some that were very keen to do it. There's some that were kind of worried about, well, I can't squeeze this person with his business license renewal simply because he's a terrible person as an employer, because the legislation didn't allow it. But we've got to pull it all together into a Human Capital Development Law or Act or whatever you call it to bring all these entities into one circuit.
Okay. Ms. Susan, we have to take... we can continue? Okay, great, good.
So the third aspect of our talent management strategy, unless you had another question for me, but
no, not right now.
Okay,
Not right now.
Is that the third aspect is that we're going to provide funding for tertiary education or education beyond high school. You know, one of the things that I find a crying shame, and I'm so aggrieved by it, is that we're sending Caymanians overseas to university and colleges, right? But there's no monitoring of them as to how they're doing. There's no plan for them when they return, where they're going to work. When they come back on vacations, there's no holistic, proper structure in terms of they're going to get work experience in this department because they're going to be moving that when they come back. There's no shepherding of those people. When I got back from university myself in 1986, in 1987, we formed an association called the Overseas Students Association, and it was for that same purpose, where those college students who were overseas and realized that we had a problem because, we were just getting the Caymanians going overseas then in numbers and coming back. We realized that there's a serious problem here. So we formed that association for that purpose. That association did well for a number of years. I was the second president, and I served for 2 or 3 years, then I went on to the board as well. But we're going to put that kind of structure in place within our strategy for talent management. The existing scholarship secretariat supposed to be doing that, but how can that secretariat, with probably 2 people, if that, be able to process all these scholarship applications, get them to the Education Council,
monitor them,
do the payments, do the renewals. Physically not possible. But if you pull all this together under an authority, we can have labor, immigration, work permits, training, and scholarships under one umbrella. We can make this thing connect. Right now it's just disjointed. Disjointed totally. So that's the third pillar of our plan in terms of talent management. The other is we're going to commission a national skills needs and skills availability assessment. We need to understand in our islands the kinds of skills that we need for the workplace or for our economy, the new industries, the new kinds of leading indicators in terms of roles that are coming out. We're going to commission a skills needs assessment. What do we need in our public and private sectors, in our economy for the next 20 years, right? Once we have those needs, then we'll do a skills assessment, right? Skills, what people have as skills.
Yes.
Then we have a gap. We have a gap between what the economy needs and what the economy possesses in terms of available skills. That gap then needs to be filled with training funded by scholarships in the public sector and private sector as well. Private sector has to be fully involved in this. On-the-job training, online training, evening classes, whatever it takes to close that gap, we're going to do. But until we get that gap established of what the economy needs for the next 20 years and what we have, then we don't have nothing to work on. But we're going to commission that. And it's easy. Other countries do it. I know how to do it. And people in government know how to do that kind of assessment to give us the information that we need to be the catalyst for a proper human capital development strategy, which will be augmented by the authority that I mentioned to you and also by the law or by the act.
And so this whole thing will be focused mainly on Caymanians, employment of Caymanians.
Definitely. The whole, when you say human capital, I'm talking about Caymanian human capital. So thank you for help me clarify that. We obviously need to have foreign labor here, but when I come back the next time and talk to you about what we're going to do in terms of that as well, because I also have a plan on that. But this talent management, human capital development is strictly for Caymanians. So to recap thus far, then we'll do a new human relations, labor relations law or act. We'll do a new human capital development authority, which will be bolstered by a human capital development law or act. We're going to have our university students properly shepherded and monitored and moved into roles so that they can succeed other people and they can start their career properly. The amount of people that tell me that they graduated, their children or themselves graduated from UCCI or UCCI primarily, and or they go overseas to colleges or technical schools, whatever, and they come back and they can't find a job. Yeah, that's just shameful, really, and scary, and it's so disappointing to see those young people sitting at home, and I can't, they can't get jobs, and who sent them on a scholarship seem to have forgotten about them, and we must do better than that. And the fourth pillar is this skills needs and skills availability assessment that we're going to do. One of the other points that I have in terms of human capital that our campaign is developing is looking at the cost and benefits of integrating public schools. What I mean by that is that right now, because of capacity issues, you know that from your immigration days, you have a requirement where people who come on a work permit have to send their children to private schools.
And the unintended consequences of that.
Exactly. The unintended consequences of that is that we have a separation of expats and Caymanians. We don't have the cross-pollination of cultures and skills and ideas, right? So we're operating in silos. Caymanian silo, non-Caymanian silo. 20 years go by, everybody's in society, you don't know these people, you can't live together, you have these sort of grievances that come out. Because in my day and your day in school as well, everybody knew each other.
Yes.
We went to school with whoever, right? And when we grew up, we lived just as we lived in school. Now it's a little different. I believe you got to look at the costs and benefits of integrating schools so that the non-Caymanians can also attend public schools. Whether they have to pay something to do that or not, that's to be determined. But somebody asked me at the other show was that this morning, well, how are you going to do that if you have issues with capacity? Now, we have in West Bay a property that is on Stadium Drive and goes all the way to Fountain Road, and it's all the back of the John Cumber School area. That piece of property is huge. It's been filled a couple of times. It's still sitting there vacant. It was supposed to be for a hurricane shelter and a multipurpose civic center, and also another school. That's not yet done, right? So we need to have another school in West Bay. But our existing classrooms as well at the primary school could be used if you integrate the schools. You could have two different shifts. For example, you could have the older children, maybe grades primary grades 3 to 6, for example, go to school early in the morning. So they go from 8 till 1 or 2. And then the ones that are a little bit younger and might have a problem getting up so early, they go from say 2:30 to 7 o'clock in the night. So you're using the school facilities, and you're also working with the parents with their schedules, and you're integrating schools, but also using your capacity, because many of these schools, Mr. O.C., when school is finished in the afternoon, the schools are like dormitories. They're just dead,
Yes,
and you
yes.
can use that. So integrating schools is another area. The final point, the second to the last point in terms of our agenda for training and human capital development is to provide technical and vocational training programs. Now, University College has the facilities, and they tried to do that years ago, to have technical and vocational training. Mr. McKeever Bush, you may remember, bought the John Silver's property on Church Street in West Bay. It's called Islands Club, I think. It was a nice little small hotel, had a little restaurant, and had a little a bar and stuff like that. He bought that with the view that it was going to be a hotel training school. Have you been down there yet recently, Mr. O.C.?
No, I haven't been there. I know after Hurricane Ivan, we actually took it and we converted it into apartments where we had people who needed housing to live there. That was the last.
But is it being used for hotel training school?
No.
Right.
No.
So that's my point. So all these promises about what they're going to do, and they spend government money and buy these white elephants and don't use them, but yet they say we should have technical and vocational training when they go out and their public meetings and they run around the district talking foolishness to people. So our plan is to create technical and vocational training programs using the existing facilities of UCCI and other places that do technical training now and individuals, and also looking at that John Silver's property for a hotel training center, which also will be dovetailed with the existing hotels, condos as well. And my last point on the human capital development area is looking at revamping the Department of Labor and Pensions to make it more effective in terms of labor compliance and employee relations. As I mentioned, a new labor relations bill. But my plan also is to remove pensions, the pension administration aspect from that department, and combine the National Pensions Office for the private sector with the Public Service Pension Board with the public sector, and have those two together, because there's so many synergies. The skills that you need for pensions in the private sector and public sector are very much similar. So you'll have everything under one roof. You'll have two pieces of legislation, probably two boards, but the administration of that function of pension, which is very, very important, which I'll talk to you about in the future, will be properly managed using combined resources that exist now, and also sharing technology, sharing synergy, sharing people, sharing intelligence, and having the best possible outcome for retirement planning for Caymanians when we need it the most, i.e. when we stop working. So those are 6 areas that we're going to be focusing on in our agenda for action in terms of human capital development and talent management of Caymanians. And I just want to say to all of the voters in West Bay West, If you like what I'm saying, tell your friends, share it, talk about it, reach out to your family, your children, grandchildren. Let's get Mario E.E. Banks elected in West Bay West, and together we'll work with other like-minded people within the society, and we're going to make wonders happen. It's not just a promise. We can do it if we have the right people in there. No more promises, no more short-term gain for long-term pain. Let's focus on the future. And I promise you that I will be a good role model. I will not embarrass you locally or internationally. I will be there for you, and I will have an office, and I'll be there for you, whether I am the Premier or Deputy Premier or Minister or Parliamentary Secretary or MP. I'll still make time for you. And my wife is also a community worker, and she has also said to me, I'll give you 8 years, no more than that, and I'll help you. After that, then I'm back with her full time.
Now, what you spoke about this morning in terms of human capital and talent management, you have found that there's a huge appetite out there in the public for this. And how do you do that without alienating the important sectors like the business community?
Very good point. I thank you for raising that. Remember that I was also a manager, first came on a manager of the Chamber of Commerce. I am also a trustee right now of the Chamber Pension Plan.
Okay.
I was a councillor in the Chamber of Commerce until the end of 2019. I have good relations with the private sector, with the business community. They know that when Mario E. Banks proposes something, I am open for suggestions. We can work together and make it work. And my objective and my clarion call has always been, I want to be fair to the business community and employers, but I'm going to be a fighter for the employee. I believe in balancing the two. And that's the stance that I took when I was manager of Chamber of Commerce. That's the stance that I took when I was director of Labour and Pensions, looking at both sides and making sure we work together. So it's not a case of us versus them. It's let's work together to make it better for all of us, for all of us, for all of us. It's time, West Bay West. It's time for real leadership, committed leadership, ethical leadership. And I submit to you, Mr. O.C. and our listeners, it's time for Mario E.E. Banks to be elected in West Bay West on the 14th of April. I beg you for your vote. I promise you that I will deliver. And I thank you for your consideration. And may God bless and guide you as you make this most important decision.
And we wish you all the success in your endeavors as well. Folks, that was Mr. Mario E. Banks, candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections. He's a candidate in the electoral district of West Bay West, seeking to represent that electoral district in our parliament. Again, Mr. Mario, thank you, and we look forward to continuing interviews with you, where you will again lead us in terms of what your agenda is. And at some point in time, once your manifesto has been published, you will be sharing that with the public as well.
I will be, and I hope to unveil that on your show as well. And I want to say to the people before I leave also today that you'll hear some stuff at a public meeting tonight by my opponent. I say to you, check the facts on those. Do not believe all the nonsense that he puts out there. Call me or see me and ask me if you have any doubts. But he didn't show up this morning to debate me on the crosstalk. And so he's afraid to face me and face the facts. But you all be smart, vote smart, and together we can win.
Okay. Folks, I want to thank you all very much. Have a great day. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
The preceding was a paid political broadcast.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.